Hi, everyone. We're going to start the webinar really soon, so keep on coming. Before I start, I'm going to just stop sharing my screen for a moment. Okay. Hello, hello. Can I get a thumbs up if y'all can hear me? Let's try out the reaction buttons. Thanks, Vanessa. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Sri. Okay, cool. So I'm going to kick off today's webinar. Hi, everyone. My name is Zahira, and I am the program manager for the University Leadership Development Program this year, cohort 14. So thank you so much for joining us today. Before I start, let me just share my screen again, and we will be going through the agenda as we move along today's opening, okay? If I could get a thumbs up again, just for you to see whether you can see my screen. Vanessa, Terry, do you see my screen?
Yes, Sarah. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for the reaction. So once again, everyone, good afternoon, and I hope that our little lounge music didn't put you all to sleep. We're kicking off our session at a very high note today. I'm going to be taking you through our agenda before we begin. So thanks so much for signing up for the webinar. So obviously all of you here are, the ones who have heard about ULDP and you're interested to know what the hype is all about. So we've gotten a few of alumni together to kind of share with you their experience, and hopefully after this session, you would be 110% convinced to apply for this program. So I am going to be kicking off our session today with a very quick opening remarks and also the introduction to what ULDP is all about. So if you have any questions as to like how the program is going to be run, whether it's going to be virtual or physical, this is the segment that you want to focus on, because I will be sharing with you some of the key information that you would need to know in order to be fully prepared for this program. So once I'm done with my session, I will pass the floor to our moderator today. She is none other than Sri Khairuddin, who is also an alumni of Cohort 7. So really, today's session is organized and put together for you from all the ULDP alumni that you see. So a quick fun fact about myself, I am also an alumni of ULDP. I am circa cohort 2. So you can guess how old I am. I will not disclose my age, but ULDP started in 2013 and I joined the program in 2014. So I'm really happy to be part of the foundation and be here with you to share all the great things about this program. So after the panel discussion is done, we'll give our panelists about 45 minutes to share their experience with you. We'll give an opportunity to the floor. If you have any questions throughout this session, just feel free to drop it into our chat and we'll take those questions in the Q&A at the very last 15 minutes of our session today. And hopefully, if all goes well, we will be able to conclude our webinar at about 5:15. And if you'd like to connect with us after this session, feel free to let us know and we will be able to share and reconnect with you either on LinkedIn or any other channels after this chat, okay? So here are the housekeeping rules for our audience today. Please be mindful that while the webinar is in session, you are needed to keep your Zoom on mute. So throughout the session, we don't want any disruption. So if you can be mindful as to make sure that your mic is on mute, that would be very grateful. The second thing is to ensure that your display name is your preferred name, because when we enter Q&A, and if you are not shy and you want to unmute yourself and ask a question, we would like to know what to call you. The third one is be participative and join the conversation in the chat box. So for example, for myself right now, I cannot see the chat box, but I'm sure my panelists, my moderator, and also my AYTP team, Izati, behind the scenes will be able to interact with you. And also you can interact with each other. Right. So for questions, if you can write down your name when where you're dialing in from, we will be able to also take that and address you accordingly at the end of the webinar. And last but not least, we would like to invite all of you to turn on your cameras at the very end, because we'd like to take a group photo to commemorate our session with all of you today. Last but not least, everyone, please just have fun. This is supposed to be a very casual and cool session. If you have any questions after this chat, please let me know, okay? So that's all for housekeeping. Right, so here we are going to jump straight into what is the Axiata University Leadership Program all about? What is it actually? So in short, internally, wherever we speak to our friends, we always call this University Leadership Development Program as a short form. We call it ULDP. So ULDP is essentially a 2-week development program focused only for Malaysian undergraduates studying locally and abroad. So if you are always curious about how you can collaborate and work with students that are studying across the world, this is one of the programs that you can try out and you can do so here. So it provides our participants with the opportunity to learn different skills, such as critical skills. For ULDP, our participants get to learn critical thinking, communication, and also creativity, as well as other business knowledge that is required for you to eventually be an inspiring future CEO. So what you learn from the program essentially is to demonstrate the business skills. So you will be put into different workshops where you will learn. And then at the same time, you will have the opportunity to apply those skills immediately. And that's one of the reasons why this program is so long. It's 2 weeks and it's fully residential. So whenever you're with us, you'll be able to go through all of those intensive learning experiences together. Other than the business skills, you will also learn how to command critical skills. So as I've mentioned earlier, communication, critical thinking, and creativity is part of it. And most importantly, collaboration. So the opportunity to work with not only students from different universities in Malaysia, but also students who are studying in overseas university in places like Imperial College, even Oxford, and also some Ivy League US universities will be able to join this program, and you get to meet them during this 2 weeks boot camp. Other than that, you will also be mastering business concepts. And the whole idea here is that for most students, we always, think about business concepts as things that you learn when you enter an MBA program. But in ULDP, we already introduce you and expose you to what those business concepts may be. So if you are someone who has the burning passion to be entrepreneurial and you want to learn all these concepts at an early stage, ULDP is one of the great places for you to do that. So other than that, of course, you can showcase your ability on leadership concepts as well as elevate your professional toolkit. And for us this year, we specifically embedded new content and new modules that focuses on digital finance, digital marketing, and also Gen AI, which is something that we've all heard about, right? Who here has not heard about ChatGPT and how that is taking over the world? So in this particular bootcamp, you will be able to be given the toolkit to see how you can use all of those skills productively and effectively in your day-to-day. So this is essentially what it is for your what you get for ULDP. So now let me move on to my next slide. So why should you join this program? So one of the things that we always pride ourselves for putting together ULDP is we always bring different business leaders into the program as well. So beyond meeting peers who are equal, who have the same passion as you, you will also have the opportunity to network with top business leaders, essentially potential coaches and mentors that you would want to learn from live in the bootcamp itself. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, like I've mentioned earlier, you get to connect with top Malaysian talents around the world and also receive coaching and guidance from our professional trainers. So throughout the 14 days that you will be with us, you will have the opportunity to learn in the workshops, apply what you've learned in what we call business simulations, but also be coached and guided by those same professionals. And you'll be able to reflect and also learn from all of your mistakes. And hopefully by the end of this program, you will come out a well-rounded leader. So that's what we hope for all of our participants to achieve at the end of these 14 days. And last but not least, I think a lot of people are very excited about this, is that at the very end of this journey, you will embark in a challenge called the CEO Challenge, of which you will have the opportunity to win attractive prizes. So I won't reveal too much about what those prizes are. If you are still interested to know, you can always connect with me to have that chat. But the prizes are pretty attractive if you ask me. So the next slide. So here are the information that most people will want to know about the program itself. So when is this program actually happening? So we have scheduled the session to take place from the 17th of August all the way to the 30th of August. The first 4 days of this session will be done virtually. So it means you can do this at the comfort of your own home or in your dorms. But then from the 22nd all the way to the 30th of August, we will be able to invite you on a fully residential bootcamp where you will come together as a group and learn and also learn together. So the format, as we would call this, is a hybrid program. And like I've mentioned, we are revealing to you right now where the location is going to be. So hopefully this also eases your logistics and how you will be able to join us during the bootcamp itself. Yeah. So last but not least, why most people is very interested to join ULDP is the fact that the program fee of 12,000 ringgit, which for most people you would have to pay up front to go through this kind of training, is fully paid for and sponsored by Axiata Foundation. So on top of the fact that we come in to design this entire experience for you, you will also be getting all of this for free. All you need to do is be present and be participative throughout this entire journey as you and your friends learn together. Okay, so what kind of things are you going to be learning in ULDP, if you may ask? So here I am going to be just going to break down to you as simply as possible what kind of core elements that is involved in this program. So as I mentioned to you earlier, the 4 Cs, which encompasses communication, creativity, critical thinking, and also collaboration, is going to be a key component in this program itself. And you will receive masterclasses on how to use this in your day-to-day. On top of that, business workshops, unveiling business concepts is also a core element of the program. Apart from that, simulations where you will get to apply all of the knowledge that you've learned into real world application is going to be one of the most exciting parts of this program. And you will get to hear what kind of simulations are we talking about through the sharing with our panelists after this session during the panel session itself. There will be multiple opportunities to reflect and learn about different things that you've absorbed and also be exposed to you throughout this program, as well as fun elements such as team building and also a team dinner where we will get to kind of let loose and also, remove ourselves from all of the learning components of the program, right? So we work hard and we also play hard in ULDP. So hopefully this gives you a snapshot of what kind of things will be taught in this session. If this resonates with you and you would like to know more, please let us know. Or if you've already been convinced that this is something that you want to experience and be part of, then you can go ahead and apply straight away because applications are already open on our website. Okay, so these are the virtual sessions that I was sharing with you earlier. This is a little bit more detailed as to like what you can expect in the virtual session. So there are going to be self-paced learning, which means you will be given access to online learning modules where you will get to learn by yourself also. And then in the afternoon when you come in, so these are all split into morning is the pink session and the purple is the afternoon session. Afternoon session in purple, you will be given instructor-led session. So that means it's going to be a live instructor unpacking what you've just learned in the morning. So this will be done in day 1, day 2, day 3, and day 4 before you come to Ternera Hotel to do the actual physical bootcamp. Okay, so at the physical bootcamp, why we emphasize on doing this physically is because the business simulations, the application of real world cannot be experienced well enough if it's not done physically. So we minimize the workshop sessions during this time, but you will get to expose yourself in all of the business simulations, and as you can see, it's all color-coded. So there are going to be in total 5 business simulations in here. And if you see in this slide right here, I am not exposing to you what kind of business simulations you will be in, because I want to leave that as a surprise. But if you ask the right questions later on, the panelists might share with you what are the things that they went through. Okay, so now how do you be part of this journey? So this is our 4-stage selection process. of which we have done this. Cohort 14 is this year, so that means we have done this 14 times in the last decade, and it has been the same foolproof selection process ever since. So there are 4 stages. The first stage being submit your application on the website. So if you are already convinced that you want to try and be part of this journey, just submit your application. If you are not eligible, you will immediately receive a rejection email. So you don't have to wait any longer. But if you are eligible for the program, then yay, you'll be invited to complete a gamified online assessment, of which upon success, you will then be invited to a 30-minute phone interview. And between us, I have already sent out the first batch of phone interviews. So if you are already interested, please get applying because the slots are going to be filling up really fast after this. After you've done the phone interview and you have obviously impressed the interviewer, then you will receive an offer letter to join ULDP 2014 straight away. So the selection process is as simple as that. It takes us about 2 to 3 weeks to complete this entire journey. So it wouldn't take too long. And yeah, so get applying. If you have any questions at this point, again, just drop it in the chat. Once I'm done with the presentation, I will take up those questions immediately, okay? So I spoke to you earlier about stage 1 being an eligibility check, right? That only if you are eligible for the program, then you will be invited to the next stage, which is the online assessment. So this is the eligibility of joining ULDP. Number 1 is that you must be Malaysian and you must be an undergraduate student. Unfortunately, students who come in at the stage of diploma, we are not able to accept you at this point because the design and the content of the program has been curated to be at a certain level of difficulty that we feel only undergraduate students will be able to really shine and push through. And at the moment, we have not explored in opportunities to open up that role to any students who is below undergraduate. However, if you are taking your master's right now or PhD, you also feel free to join as long as you are between the ages of 19 to 25. So if you are beyond 25 years old, unfortunately, you are too old for this program. So other than that, because this is a leadership and business concept development program, we actually open this program to all fields of study. So it doesn't matter whether you are coming in from medicine or sciences, social sciences, psychology, and whatnot, you are welcome to join because it will equally be beneficial for you to have exposure to all of the content that we teach in this program. And last but not least, one of the things that would definitely make your application stand out is if you have a strong track record of leadership skills through active extracurricular engagement. So which means if you are part of an MPP or you're part of ICMS or any type of student organizations and you're active in it, please know that then your application will be one of the top ones that we'll be looking at. But of course, that doesn't mean that we don't look into the ones that are not active. We also look into each and every one of the applications to make sure that the cohort that we built comes in inclusive and fair and also diverse as possible. Okay, so this is my last slide. I will now be passing it on to Sri. Sri, can you unmute yourself so I know that you are there?
I am right here.
Okay, great. So Sri, over to you to take them to their panel discussion.
Thank you, Zahira. Now, good evening, everyone. I am Sri. I am currently handling brand and social at Boost, and I was actually from ULDP cohort 7. So I guess you can also guess my age by using the history lesson from Zahira earlier. I was also from YCDP cohort let me think, cohort 5, and I also graduated from Axiata Management Associate. That's the Axiata Graduate Program, batch 11. So clearly there is a great reason why I went through all of the programs at Axiata, and it was a truly life-changing experience for me personally. So I would like to welcome you to the highlight of this webinar, panel discussion, Future Leader Heading Your Way, a conversation with ULDP alumni from cohort 12 and also cohort 13. We are very, very excited to have all of you here as we count down to the close of the applications on August 5th. Now, today we'll be hearing from past ULDP participants, our AYTP, Axiata Young Talent Program alumni, who will share their experiences and insights, and perhaps these stories will somehow be more relatable to you, as I believe they are much more closer to you in age. So hopefully this will encourage you, for those of you considering to apply or is already currently in the selection process. Hopefully this will give you a glimpse of an adventure that awaits you. So throughout this session, if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat. Our Axiata Foundation representative will always keep a lookout on it, and they will pass it to me later to call it out during the Q&A session afterwards. So now let's begin with introductions, shall we? Can I just check with my panelists if they're all here? Can you just unmute yourself just for me to see if you guys are here?
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Great. Okay. So let's begin with the introductions, shall we? Could you please introduce yourself, your current role, that is if you're working, or perhaps what you are studying now, where at? Briefly tell us which ULDP cohort you were from, and also, just to start on a lighter note, can each of you also share one fun fact about yourself?
Maybe I can go first, is it?
Yes, go ahead, Terry.
Okay, hello everyone. So my name is Terry. So I'm from ULDP cohort 13. I'm currently studying Bachelor of Economics in UNC Malaya. I run an NGO by side. I'm studying currently as well the student rep in the uni. So one fun fact about me is I actually developed a mastery skill called the art of sleeping after ULDP, because I'm able to sleep at anywhere, any place, you know. So the ballroom carpet is always my favorite, because you don't have, even though you are living at like 5-star hotel, but you don't even have time to sleep. So you usually go under the carpet, under the table, with proper shade of lights. So that's about me. That's it. Yeah. So I'm passing the baton to Vanessa next. Okay.
Thank you, Terry. Hi, my name is Vanessa. I'm currently studying ecology and biodiversity at University Malaya as well. I'm a Wisely Academic Fellow, a Gamuda Scholar, and I'm active in the environmental and educational fields. I'm part of cohort 13. And a fun fact about me is that I chose to do a minor in civil engineering. Don't ask why, it's a long story. I'll pass it to Heaven.
Hey everyone. Yeah, my name is Heaven. That's my real name. My parents named it like that. And I'm currently studying chemical engineering with international studies at Korea University in Seoul, South Korea. And I'm a JPA scholar, and I'm working at the, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Yeah,
hear.
okay. Okay, great. So I'm under PPMK, which is Persatuan Pelajar Malaysia Korea. So I'm doing as a Academic and Career Bureau 2. And yeah, one fun fact about me is that I'm from Penang, and I'm super prideful about that. And I just say Penang food is better to everyone. Although so sometimes I disagree with that as well. But yeah, I think that is, yeah.
All right,
Okay.
last but not least, Aina.
Okay, so I'm next. My name is Aina Camelia. You can call me Aina. So I was actually from cohort 12. I'm currently working as a marketing management trainee under Looks in L'Oreal MYSG. Fun fact about me, I don't know if it's considered fun, but I actually caught COVID like 5 times already to this day. Yeah. I'm kind of like, COVID loves me, so I guess I'm okay with that, but it's not as bad as it sounds.
Girl, is your immune system okay? All right. Thank you everyone for that. And to Heaven, I'm also from Penang, so I'm also as prideful for the Penang foods. So you and I both. Okay, so for the first question, can you guys share a memorable moment or perhaps a key highlight that you guys experienced from your time in ULDP? Perhaps
Maybe I can take it. All right. I think one of the most memorable times for me, and I say this with very bad memory, but one of the best or most scariest moments for me was when I first did the first ever pitch. So throughout a lot of your simulations there and activities there, you will be required to pitch or present what your findings have been or what you've been working on with your team. And I think this was the first ever simulation that we had, and my team went first. So stepping out and setting the bar or setting the bar for myself, at least for when I was pitching and what I expected of myself and my standards, it was scary. I heard I did well, but I was shaking the entire time, but you wouldn't be able to tell. So that was a small win for me.
What about Aina?
So for me, back then, I think all of us can relate. We do have like this thing called imposter syndrome, right? So when I first came in, I knew it was going to be very business focused. So I don't actually, my degree is I have a biotechnology background, although now I'm in marketing, which is also part of how ULDP has shaped me. But last time, so when I came in, I was quite having a major imposter syndrome, thinking that, oh my God, everyone knows what they're doing, everyone knows how the corporate world looks like, or things like that. But I'm like, I've been stuck in the lab for about like 2 months that time, finishing my final year project. So I think like the whole experience alone, like being able to go through all the business simulations and understanding and being comfortable in the fact that you started off as not understanding things, has been a game changer to me personally. Even in like now that I'm working, you will always start with not knowing things. So when you start off by not knowing and embracing the fact that, okay, you're in a situation where you won't be able to be very familiar with your circumstances, but you can grow up from it and you can actually be good at it. So I think that would be like the best thing that has ever happened to me in ULDP.
Okay, yeah. So I think I definitely agree with Aina as well, because I am from a science-based background as well. I'm currently doing chemical engineering. So one common misconception about, I would say it's a true thing about engineering students, is that we don't talk much, we don't socialize a lot, and we just look at the computers and see equations all day long. That is kind of true. So I think ULDP in a way helped me to, network more and socialize and, gain business skills, because I think that these skills are like super important. So in a way, one thing that is very memorable is the friends that I made actually, like, because I'm studying overseas. I'm studying in Korea, so I don't have many Malaysian friends. So when I come back, for this program for last summer, I could actually reconnect with my roots and like, oh wow, like I can feel so comfortable in my own skin, in the sense that, it's the people that you know and you're talking the language that you understand. So I just felt so home, and I think, yeah, ULDP gave me that opportunity. So yeah.
Thanks again, Heaven. So from my side, I like how I actually shared about accepting your own flaws. Okay, so every single person, they have their own things or certain part they need to brush up. It's very common to have that. Okay, and it's also very common for us to hide that part of ourselves. Okay, but for me personally, if I were to share the most memorable moments in URDP, it would be, imagine URDP is actually okay. It's a camp, but well, also it's actually a competition. So at the end, there will be CO challenge, and by CO challenge, all of us will be so burnt out, so tired. Okay, so I like the phrase that was used, which is when we said it to anyone, almost like anyone. Okay, each groups within groups, we said it like, a little bit more, you can do this. and it goes not just once, it goes like so many times. I think that's really pushing each other. You don't see that in normal competition where you don't build that kind of great relationship between competitors. You are not building that kind of, okay, I wanted to see you win as well. So in ULDP, you see another side of the story, and I really like that. Okay, I think that's it from my side. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, everyone. So if I can just summarize everything, right? We did talk about having small wins. And I really echo back to this because I experienced it during ULDP as well, where I had some moments where I stepped outside of my comfort zone, shaking during presentation. And I also came from a background, I came from a social science background. I did psychology back then. So I really did not know what I was doing. So Aina, you and I we both had imposter syndrome. When we first came into ULDP, we thought that everyone knew what they knew. They already know what to do with the corporate world, how to do financial forecasting, and I felt really out of place. But I think what ULDP established at that time was that you don't know what you don't know. And throughout all of the business simulations, I learned so much more. And as per what Terry said just now, it is a camp, but it is also a competition. So I remember throughout the whole camp, in every different business simulations, my team and I will always ask each other, do you want to learn or do you want to win? And I remember one of us saying, why can't we do both? And I think that was one moment from ULDP that struck to me. I can still remember it up till today. That was like, what, 5 years ago? Yes, that was 5 years ago. So that was that. Thank you, guys. So now let's talk more about the simulations and give them some insights about what you guys did during the simulations, right? And we've received so many questions from the forum, and I have kind of like consolidated some of it for this session. So let's start first with this. Without giving away any surprises, of course, because we all here know, especially those who have been in ULDP before, there's so many surprises. So without giving away surprises, could you describe what kind of simulations or perhaps workshops, because we did have some workshops along the way, that you experienced during the program, and how were they beneficial to you, especially those that you can still remember up till today?
Maybe I can start first on this. So I think what really is impactful to me out of all the business simulations, I would say it would be adrenaline. So it was something related to trying to serve your clients on ads to market their products. So it is actually very, very similar to what I'm doing right now in my job. So I felt like, okay, this was my thing. I didn't know back then that it was going to be my thing. So basically you will be meeting your clients. So there will be different types of clients, literally a business simulation. So how I would describe ULDP as a whole, just as a summary for you guys, is ULDP is basically Kidzania, but for uni students. Legit, I'm not even kidding. Because you will be meeting people who are for example, clients that are nice, but they don't have any direction. So that also applies in your job. For example, you'll have nice bosses, but they won't give you any direction until you're actually delivering results. Then it's not something that they want. But you also have bosses that are very strict, that probably throw bottles everywhere, but they actually tell you what you want. You can actually read them in some way, which is not probably the nicest way, but it gives you what you want, and it lets you deliver what you want to deliver. So during that simulation, you manage to understand there are different types of ads. For example, you see billboards, you see whatever on TV, or now we have digital ads on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and things like that. So during that simulation, I feel okay, it's not just you getting assets or getting pictures and blasting it everywhere. There's so much thought process that goes into it. So in that situation itself in ULDP, you're with your peers who also have limited knowledge in forming ads and things like that. So we only had Canva. We only had what is that called? I forgot what's the name of the app, but basically really limited resources for you to produce those apps. You don't have Photoshop. Maybe some of you do now, but we only had Canva back then, Canva Pro. So when we were doing all these ads, we took our pictures with whatever outfits that we have just to create impactful advertisements and to pitch it to our clients. Sometimes they will give you feedback that you never thought it would actually be useful for you, because like as a consumer yourself, when you're doing it, it's very different from the person who goes to see all these ads and actually make an impact for them to convert into customers. So these are the elements that you don't learn in school or you don't see outside. You're just probably the end user. So I feel like that particular simulation has really impacted me, understanding that, you know, people who do ads or like creative people, it's not just about um creating it and letting it out. You can have the best ideas, but if you don't know how to pitch it, you don't know how to defend your idea, it's also not going to give your ideas justice, you know? So there's a lot of stakeholder management going into that. So I feel like it is a really well planned simulation on its own. So that's what I would say on adrenaline. Big fan.
Maybe I can take the next one. I think I'll talk about Moto Tycoon. So Moto Tycoon was our first ever simulation. And just for context, I am an ecology student. If you don't know what ecology is, I'm looking at trees. I came out of diploma with forestry. All right. And even though I have like sufficient financial literacy, you can imagine how I felt that we were going in and looking at financial reports. We were looking at future future income and all of the net income that we're looking at. And we're also looking at different bidding. We're looking at different types of business deals, and you have to decide which ones you can take based on what kind of asset classes that you've already gotten on your own. That entire process, that was scary, but it was so, so, so helpful. And I still use the information and knowledge that I've learned from then. We learned how to look at financial reports, which let me recommend to all of you that is very important regardless of what field you're in. Because if you're managing your own investments and you're managing your own personal finance, that is going to be really important. And it was also very relevant for my field, even though I couldn't necessarily see it back then. Because seeing as how my field is expanding and it overlaps with ESG, it overlaps with climate finance, all of that information that I learned started becoming very, very relevant to me later on. So that's all for Moto Tycoon. But interestingly enough, because I was leading my team for this simulation, I turned from ecologist to accountant overnight. I was running so many different types of choices that we could make, but we pulled through.
Okay, thanks again, Vanessa. So I want to add on a bit about engineer adrenaline simulation. So for this simulation, so what happened to my team? Actually, my team is the same as Heaven, you know, both are in the same team. So we are required, okay, imagine we create a whole thing already, the advertisement, the idea, everything. We presented the idea, and this is possible, which is in a sense, which is the client can actually reject your idea last minute. And you need to burn your night oil, you know, from the night all the way to the morning. You're pitching the whole idea in the morning. So to recreate the whole content again. So this is possible. Be ready for it because it's going to burn you out a lot. But you have the team together with you. So this is a good fight. As long as you have good team, you all are able to go through that together. Okay, I've been through that. So I do think that some of you might go through that as well. Okay. But another side, which is for my side, I would like to share about press conference. Okay, my most favorite simulation. So for press conference, imagine you'll be given a scenario. Okay, maybe some accident. It could be train, it could be airplane, whatever things happen. So how are you as a CEO or whatever position you are taking? How are you supposed to navigate that situation or the stakeholders management? Yeah, the stakeholder management. So how are you supposed to manage that situation? So imagine coming in, people are trolling you in with all these papers, whatever things that you can think of, you know. You went on top of the stage, people are shouting at you, and there's a story about this green alien baby who actually died on the way. So there's a lot of things happening. So it was very chaotic. And how are you supposed to manage the crowd? Is it being rational is right? Or are you supposed to be emotional with them? So how are you supposed to find a good balance between these two and try to guide them through that you're working on that situation? So, and the thing is, you are only given maybe around 10 minutes to really prepare for it. And you'll be going up, meeting the whole crowd, which is all these victims in a blank mind. So what are you supposed to say? And you are not given much information about what happened on site of this scenario. So this is very challenging for me personally, and I do see that it's going to be the most fun one in the whole simulation as well. Okay, I think the last one, back to you, Heaven.
Thanks, Terry. So yeah, that's the hardest one. So I remember I want to introduce one simulation which is called Taste Labs. I think it was relatively new to our cohort. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure Sri and Aina wouldn't have like experience in it. So Taste Lab is a investment, you have different markets around one region and you're just like making investments. And this simulation is kind of close to my heart because this is the first one that I was a CEO. So every simulation, you have different roles, different positions where your teammates can, take part. And as a CEO, as the leader of this company, how I was going to make investments, like, is it is it going to be profitable if I make an investment here? And what are the markets up and downs? And I think that was actually it wasn't that hard as like adrenaline or biz ops, but this was actually like a sort of a filler simulation in the sense that you could actually have some time, but at the same time you don't have much time because the pitches are like, you have to pitch to your boss about what's the situation and everything, and you're given like less than 1 hour. I think it's very, very short. So it's very memorable in the sense that it's close to my heart because it's my first simulation as a CEO. At the same time, it's where I could, I feel like our team kind of lacks synergy. So we have this thing where this simulation kind of pushed us forward to get more synergy. So yeah.
Right. Thank you, everyone. So I really like what Aina said just now when she said ULDP is like Kidzania, but for uni students, which I 100% agree with. How I see ULDP is that throughout all of the business challenges, business simulations rather, it really puts you in situations that looking back now, it's tough situations that looking back now, me as a working adult right now, it truly has helped me manage myself in making informed decisions at work. And, not just informed decisions, but also like what Terry said just now, sometimes there are certain changes that you might not know can happen, and it does happen. So you need to make fast and strategic thinking when it comes to reaching roadblocks. So truly, yes, that's what ULDP is all about, putting you in situations, be it realistic. It is realistic, but sometimes it can be a bit hyperbolic, although it will definitely help you guys in the future. So, which brings me to my next question. Aina, can you share with us something that you've learned at ULDP and how perhaps you've applied it in real world scenarios? Perhaps if it has assisted you to navigate the challenges in your job right now.
I think number one would be really stakeholder management. I could not stress this enough. Like when you're at work, besides you executing what you're supposed to execute and reaching business goals, but it's really to manage your people, whether it be your teams, your boss, or your big boss. So this is very, very important. Even when you're in a team, you guys will probably experience this yourself in uni. You will have tough teammates, tough lecturers that give unrealistic deadlines and things like this. So when you're in ULDP, you know how to defend yourself, defend your ideas, and also manage what is the point that they want to kind of convey to you. Sometimes it's just one objective that they want to achieve. It takes skill, time, and also experience for you to really understand what each person wants and how to deal with them. Some people are more emotional, and that's okay. And some people are much more realistic. Like, I just want an answer from you. I don't want any excuses. I don't want for you to give me some reasoning or stuff like that, but I just want you to give me a solution. Then I'll just say yes or no. So these are the type of things that you will learn in ULDP, whether it be from your teammates or even from your business leaders themselves. So you will also have like people coaching you throughout the 2 weeks boot camp. So that will also really help you to give you feedback, because sometimes we don't also understand how we react to things. Sometimes you have a resting bitch face, so it might seem like you're not happy with the situation. Yeah, but sometimes
Bleep face.
yeah. Oh, sorry, beat face. Sorry. But yeah, but some other people just are just smiling, but probably are kind of sad inside of what they've heard from other people and things like that. So you get to really know how to balance that situation and how to make sure you present yourself the best way possible for you to also manage people around you. Yeah, I think that is very important from you all.
Thank you, Aina. I know about the rest because maybe do you think that the LDP has perhaps helped you in a way to manage your expectations when it comes to perhaps one day interning or like working in a specific industry, or perhaps changing your industry altogether?
I think I can take this one. So during ULDP, I had this mindset that I learned during one of our first few training sessions. It's either a learning opportunity or a performing opportunity. So it's like it still applies to everything that I do in life now, regardless of whether I'm good at it now or if I'm not good at it now. If I'm not good at it now, I can learn. And if I'm good at it now, then it's a great performing opportunity for me. And anybody who has been on my team during ULDP will have heard me say this many, many times, because there will be times where you and your team are expected to deliver something that none of you have any sort of experience in. Um, Sometimes you might have to learn outside of your industry because nobody in your team can do it, or certain things happen and your team members have disappeared. It's still relevant for when you enter the workspace and even when you're in university. So I find that I have a great time connecting with all of my lecturers. I have a great time connecting with different stakeholders, especially if I'm approaching people to sponsor certain events. Um, just being in ULDP alone, you learn how to hold yourself better. You learn how to hold yourself professionally as well. And you sort of rethink the way you connect with people. So it's not so much about, I think as university students, sometimes we have this thought, I have to pretend like I am this person so that people will trust me. But essentially, when you are reaching out to people, you're just connecting because you want to achieve the same goals and you want to figure out how to achieve those same goals. And it's still applicable in my internships, when executing projects and all that.
Right, Heaven, what do you think? You especially, you are living abroad in a country that does not mainly speak English.
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't hear your question, Shri. Can you please
What do
repeat?
you think? Like, how has it helped you? Because especially you're living abroad in a country that doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily speak English as their first language, right?
exactly. Yeah. So I don't even take English classes, like classes in English. So most of my classes are Korean. So in a way, I was just doing engineering. So I was like, before ULDP, it was just engineering. But after ULDP, it was engineering with international studies. That's how my life changed. In a way that after ULDP, I really wanted to explore the opportunities that is available to me. So in a way, ULDP kind of accelerated that into how these skills can be made into transferable skills, you see. So I think that's how I got exposed to it, because like I feel like, studying in a public school in Malaysia, where we are just told these things are like these things, but in the real life setting it is not like that. You get to know more about like how people actually interact, how people network, and how these things actually shape the world. So I think ULDP has had like a significant change in my life, honestly. Like it might sound cliche, in a way that, oh, this 2 week program has changed my life, but in a way it did, I would say, because I came out from this program as a different person, as a person who was not only filled with transferable skills, but also someone who is enlightened with all of this, new knowledge and new motivation, for life. So I really enjoyed it. So yeah.
Terry, what do you think?
Okay, so maybe from my side, I feel like ULDP is really a place for you to test what's your limit actually about. So you won't actually have the chance to go through that kind of high level of stress with a controlled setting, and you're able to really explore yourself to the fullest. And the thing is, post event, okay, post ULDP, you are able to have chance, like personally for me, you're able to have a lot of chance to join a case study competition with your friends, and all these are essentials people that are able to help you along the way in your life. But if you want to talk about uh personal beings wise, I feel like you're deeply able to let me understand more, because I used to be that kind of individual who joined every single thing. I'm not an essentialist in essence, because I do everything because I don't know what I really wanted. So I feel like ULDP is really a good place for you to really explore yourself, because there are a lot of different people there. That's when you're able to meet, mingle with them, understand their perspective. That's when you know, okay, like you have joined a lot of things right now. So what are those things that you wanted to narrow down in your further career progressions? So this is something that ULDP really taught me a lot. And next thing is about the managing expectation. So in life, right, people, there are two parts of us. Okay, one is we are actually in front stage where we need to present ourselves, we need to manage expectation, we need to take our branding, we need to leave certain impression to certain people. So that's a front stage, as in a person who are acting in the theater or movie. That's the impression that they wanted to leave you. But on the other side, the backstage, this is where the actors are able to lying down, sleeping, resting, speak casually. So this is our own personal life. So I feel like in ULDP, we are able to go through these two parts of ourselves. We are able to explore these two parts of ourselves, because thinking in a way which is in a networking setting, when you go for conference, forum, it's always the front stage where you see people in their most perfection way. But in ULDP, the backstage is also being shown, where you can see people who are actually having too much with this program, maybe, okay? And how are they actually work on all these feelings? How are they actually working on all these hardships? So I feel like ULDP is very inclusive in nature, and we're able to see how people approach towards certain conflicts. Conflicts happens a lot, okay? Because everyone there all wanted to be great leaders. Everyone wanted to speak, everyone wanted to lead. So how are we supposed to manage that conversation, manage that team when everyone wanted to be the boss, right? So I think in essence, ULDP really makes you see two sides of people. And when you see anyone telling you that, oh, in their usual day, they're only sleeping for 4 hours daily, like, you know, that person is bullshit. Like, no way. Okay, people staying like sleep for 4 hours, you know. So there are a lot of people who enjoy embracing all this hustle culture, you know. So you can see the true side of people, which is somehow toxic, yeah. So I think this is my take lah from ULDP. Back to you again, Sri.
Thank you, Terry. I like what you said just now about, ULDP being a platform for you to test yourself, to really understand different kinds of people, different kind of character. It doesn't just build other people in the team to understand the team dynamic, also build yourself, right? It's a character building camp. So since I can sum it up, the way I can sum ULDP up is also that with all of this business simulations that you go through, all of these challenges that you go through, it's you will realize along the way that it's also a safe place for you to make mistakes, for you to learn about yourself. And some people, like you said just now, some people have different kind of characters. Some people may be a bit more extroverted, some people may be more introverted. And since like you said just now, ULDP, more often than not, everyone wants to be the boss. You might think so, but maybe it's not. So perhaps any one of you here can share a bit about your own character and how it has perhaps either helped you or challenged you in even when you guys were at ULDP.
I think I can take this one, right? On introversion and extroversion, I lean heavily towards introversion. And I will say that the first time I met Terry, I was so scared of him because on the bus, he started asking me what I felt about UN politics, and I was like, sorry. But it's just a full experience because I was so scared of him on the first day, and now we're like good friends. We go for karaoke together. So that's how you grow and get close to each other during ULDP. Um, but as an introverted person, I would like to just encourage you and maybe talk you through my thought process during ULDP. So you might think that being extroverted is a beneficial trait, but that is not necessarily so. Being introverted, it might mean you have a slightly lower social battery, right? And you might have to manage that during ULDP because you will be heavily involved in so many social events. But that gives you the opportunity to really reflect on how many hours can I deal with people before I need some space. And it also gives you the opportunity to communicate with your team. Hey, I need a timeout. I will still be doing my work, but I'll be doing it on my own and I'll get it back to you within half an hour. Having that sense of communication and realizing that those parts of yourself is not a bad thing, and in some cases, it can be advantageous. That was a very important part of ULDP for me. It was a very good character building moment for me.
Anyone else have any experiences or stories that you guys want to share?
Maybe I can go next. So for me, I feel like ULDP is okay. I had a little quarrel within my teams. Okay. Okay, and it wasn't really an easy one because I think one of my teammates actually told me to shut up like 4 to 5 times, because I talk too much. So that's the problem with me. So that's when I also like piss off lah with the fella. So okay, so the thing is, I feel like UDP really shaped me into understanding how important is it to listen. Sometimes when I started talking, I'm like that motorboat machine keep on grinding through. I'm not like listening at all. I'm just talking all the way through. So this is the thing about me, like I talk too much lah. So after UDP, I feel like actually my MBTI changed into introverted, after UDP. I don't know whether because UDP drained me too much or what. So I turned into introverts. So I think that's one. Second is in terms of character building, I feel like UDP actually shaped me to be way more resilient. And the scenario is I think before UDP, I didn't really have enough sleep. Like 2 or 3 days, I touch tido because just finished my paper. It was very packed. Okay. So habis exam, I straight away go for UDP, packing everything the whole night. Like the night before I was packing already. So when I go into UDP, I was like, oh, half that ready. So I never thought that I can actually go through that 14 days because it was so tiring, it was so stressful. And I feel like we didn't mean to but it was a bypass product. So I feel like in essence, which is UDP really makes you understand that how important actually to be accountable because you're able to see a lot of people who give up along the journey. You know, not like give up along the journey, which is they are endless. Like from the schedule you see earlier, there are a lot of business simulation happening. So not really a lot of people able to complete all of that. Maybe some of them they feel so tired, they just sleep in the hotel. They didn't actually go down participate or so. So with one man last covered, so how are you supposed to cover this man up? So it's a lot about army relationship, I would say, which is you are covering each other ass so that all of us can make things true. So that's the trust and bond that URDP actually shape. Maybe I see it from different perspective. So I don't know about others. So maybe Heaven, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So in a sense that ULDP has a lot of yappers, but they are very eloquent yappers. So sometimes they don't use jargon and bombastic words, but they convey their ideas and information very eloquently, which is very attractive actually, because like in a way, when we want to work in a team, I feel like even if we yap, we have to yap the right things and say the right things because then only the things will be communicated like effectively. So as I told earlier, like our team kind of lacks synergy, but because like it was so obvious because we come from very diverse fields. There was a medicine student, there was two engineering students, two finance students, and one computer science, I believe. Yeah. So it is very diverse, the range of fields. So in a way, we just have to, like, communicate effectively lah, to get the work done, because you have limited time. You don't have time to quarrel, you don't have time to be, upset about anything. You just go, chop chop chop. And I think that is how, like, in a way, my character has, been built through this ULDP program, because you have to be quick in, like, as someone put in the chat just now, crisis management, right, Vanessa, right? So I think Vanessa is, like, so great at crisis management, actually, because I've worked with both of them in different teams, and they both have amazing qualities. And yeah, I was like, wow, these are the things that you can learn from other people, right? So in a way, you just take good things from other people and throw away bad things. So yeah. Aina?
Yeah, I would echo what all of you just said about it. Honestly, it's the same for me as well. Yeah, I really have not much to elaborate because I think most of you guys have said your piece, and it's quite the same.
I wanted to add a very short word where an added plus about being on the introverted side of the scale is that if you are introverted but you still are able to hold yourself well, people tend to listen when you speak. That is one of the strong parts that I learned during ULDP, and I recommend it.
Correct.
Right, thank you, everyone. Also, right, what I don't think we mentioned this before was that throughout the boot camp, we have the 360 assessment where we assess ourselves, what we think of ourselves throughout all of these business challenges, like business simulations. And then there's our team assessing us. And then there's also a representative from Axiata Foundation side who will also assess us. So throughout all of this business challenges, similar to Terry, back then at least, I tend to yap without realizing that I was yapping. And ULDP has truly taught me to, because I thought I knew myself, but ULDP showed me another side of myself that I never knew. So yeah, I think the 360 assessment has really helped me to understand myself even more, especially on how to manage my own character and my own personality at work. Because you may tend to react differently when you're with friends, and you may tend to react differently when you are at a work setting or when you are assigned to a similar work setting with some people, right? So I think we are nearly coming to the end of our session. So I have one last question before perhaps we can open the session up to the Q&A for any people who have any questions. But before we sum this up, I just want to ask one last question for you guys. What advice would you guys give to the applicants who are still contemplating whether or not they want to apply for ULDP, or perhaps they have already applied and are still within the selection process? So what kind of advice would you like to give them? And yeah.
Maybe I can start first. So, for those who are still contemplating on whether to apply or not, honestly, what is stopping you? Because you won't lose anything in this case. Like, either you get it and you're gonna have the best time of your life. It was one of the best times of my life. And if you have applied and still waiting, you can keep on waiting. And if you don't get it, you can always apply next round. And I feel like it is such a well-planned program. I think I saw some of the comments also, whether we have existing programs here in Malaysia, we don't. And that's why, like, it is amazing how it was executed. I think it triggers a lot of things in you in a good way. And it also makes you create lifelong friends. I'm still in contact with people in my team. We still go to PD together. We still are in a same group chat, and we're actually talking about ULDP, whether or not we could participate to be OFACs in the next cohort and things like that. And they are very, like, really, really good people that you can learn from. And I still am so humbled to know all these people from ULDP, even like with the other fellow speakers today. Like I'm sure you guys are amazing at what you guys are doing. So there's really, even if you don't feel like, oh, it's you want to pursue business, but it's always good to have an overview outlook on how it is in the outside world. Because when you're in school, you think you learn so much, but actually there's so much more that you need to learn and you can learn. So always be curious and be hungry for that knowledge. So I think it's a really good stepping stone. And when you come back actually to uni, I feel like your viewpoint in life will definitely change, because if you're in like in the dorms or you're staying at your house, you get a 2 weeks free stay basically in a hotel with like 5 times a day meal. So who would say no to that, right? And then you get like chance to like mingle with your friends, and after you come back, you'll feel like, okay, I'm like a new different person with so much knowledge to share with my other friends. So yeah, that would be my advice.
Maybe I go next. So on the casual note, guys, imagine 10K given to you, 10K, the real problem is 10K. So you are given like free 10K into your pocket, you are getting like good food every day. So what's stopping you? Like there's no reason to reject this. Okay, if I give you 10K,
Of
would you
course,
take it?
Terry, 12,000.
Okay, right. 12,000, sorry. 12K, guys, it's 12K, guys. It's not like small money, okay? So, and the thing is, when you go there, you can meet me, maybe I could come back as a colleague. So you can meet a funny person and then make your maybe a bit boring session more interesting. But on a serious note, what I love the most about ULDP is actually the reflection session. So you understand yourself from the reflection session, and I would like to emphasize this more because you are going to given a chance to have a 360 reflective assessment being done. So that's when you're able to, it's 360. You know why is it 360 after this, but I like how it actually lets you understand yourself more, because sometimes you're able to go through that certain meditation ke apa, you understand yourself a bit, but you are not able to see it from different other people's perspective sometimes. And usually if you're able to hear someone's perspective, it's always from someone that you know. But this one is from a complete stranger, someone that you just know recently, and how that person have that kind of impression towards you. So I think it's very good for you to have that. And another side, which is, I feel like if you always wanted to grow, okay, I think it's common. It's hard for us to step out of comfort zone. Very common for us to do so. And sometimes, right, I feel like if you are joining this webinar today, I feel like you're one step closer. Like law of attraction is telling you that, okay, let's just join this and let's see how it goes. Let's just try and apply and then see whether you can make it through the next stage and in the end participating. So if you are wanting to grow, if you are there to build your character up, you feel like you need to, okay, to build your resilience, you need to build your stress tolerance, you need to build yourself up to be able to communicate clearly, able to networking properly with people. So if you are that kind of individual who are there rather than jadi a jago kampong, okay, you want to take the next steps to mix with this kind of peers lah, okay. So I feel like ULDP is the right chance for you to do so. Yeah.
I can take it from here. So if you have not yet applied, I would really recommend that you do so. But if you have applied and you didn't get through, I just wanted to share that I know a lot of people who have applied multiple times and only got in through their third or fourth attempt. And I want to maybe reassure you that it's never because you're not good enough. Sometimes it could be a matter of fit. Sometimes it's things that are outside of your control. But I do believe that when it is the right time for you to enter and you're a great fit, and when you enter, it will be a great opportunity for you to learn more than you ever thought possible. I went in with no expectations. I came out a fairly different person. And just to cover a little bit about what Dylan asked in the chat box, no, it is not too late. You're 23 years old this year. For most scholarships, they're open until 25. So if you want to apply, you're more than welcome to do so.
Kevin?
Yeah, as everyone has said earlier, that what's stopping you? Like, just go for it. And even what would be the worst case scenario if you apply, right? Like, just go for it. And I think take the initiative and go for it. Like, because I doubted myself as well, but my friends kind of encouraged me to do, because they were like, okay, why not is the question that we have to ask. And why miss this opportunity because of maybe like our laziness or like, our self-doubtingness or something like that, right? So yeah, go for it. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you, guys. So yes, I definitely agree with everyone here. I was also doubting myself, Kevin. Back then, I was a psychology student. When I was applying, I think I was in my last year of university, last semester. I was doing my what do you call that thing? Oh my God, I can't even remember what it's called. Viva. Yeah, I was doing my thesis paper. So it was not a great time for me, but I really doubted myself. I just went for it. Like you say, don't doubt yourself. And what you guys also should know is that after the 2 weeks program at ULDP, it doesn't just end there. You do make lifelong friends, like what Aina said. You are in this ecosystem of quite literally very nurturing people who are always on the lookout to develop themselves and develop their friends as well. They're very nice people, and you would be connected to not just your cohort but other cohorts as well, not just from ULDP but also from other programs under Axiata. There's a reason why from ULDP I also applied to Axiata Management Trainee, and I applied for Young CEO Development Program, which is similar to similar to ULDP but for working adults. So truly you will be inside this very nurturing ecosystem with like-minded people who are always on the lookout to develop themselves. Do not doubt yourself and just go for it. So that's that. I think we can open the floor to perhaps all of the curious minds out there. You guys can send your questions if you guys have any questions inside the chat bot, and I will call it out. Let's see what we have. I think we have one. I saw one just now. Nagesh Kumar asked, this question is actually for Terry, but I'll open it up if anyone of you guys here wants to echo and maybe add their points as well. How did ULDP change your view of leadership in today's fast-paced digital world?
Okay, so I start first. So the others can chime after this. So Nagesh, right? Nagesh Kumar. Okay. So leadership, there are three versions of leadership, three types of leadership. The most lowest level is instruct. That's when you instruct people, they don't know anything, they just follow what you say, right? And then you inform when you let them know a bit, okay, what's your thought process in coming up to that decision, right? That's inform, instruct, inform. And the third stage actually inspire. So inspire is when you're giving up certain ideas to people, you let them see the vision, and the team started to work on it. So this is how I lead my NGO usually. So we always inspire people in a sense, which is we let them know the vision, and the team were able to come up with all these strategies and plan to make it happen. So this is a brief note about leadership. But in ULDP, if you want to tailor it in ULDP, I feel ULDP is a lot about how you want to. Okay, so every single team, okay, every single members, they all have different capacity. Sometimes people's capacity is at 80%, or sometimes people is at 120%. So it's very diverse. People have different limits. So a lot of times, okay, what I went through, a decision that I made, I consider, I don't know whether it's right or wrong, which is I know the team can't deliver anymore because they are all burnt out already. It's too much for them. But I will always be the one who push them through, you know. That's why okay, basically one of my teammates once told me this, which is, Terry, you're too smart for us. But they are crying when they're saying this. Okay, it's a different tone. Huh? So that's the thing, you know, it's a big deal, which is you need to make a lot of decisions, which is, are you there supposed to push them, or are you there supposed to follow your team's capabilities? So if your team can't deliver, so if you still wanted to win, so I wanted to win too much, I'm that kiasu Chinese, okay? So I wanted to win too much. That's when I pressure my team too much as well. And they told me this. So I reflected a lot about this event actually. So you need to make decision. You wanted to win, but the cost is you need to solo carry lah, all the things through. But if you wanted to have a good experience with your team, maybe a better alternative that I will be taking in the future is, okay, let's just go with the team capabilities. At least we are not burden people out of it, just for the sake of winning. I didn't talk about all this. It was like post event when have like all this reflection session. That's what I learned. In essence, I feel like leadership is always about empathy. And that's something that I really liked back then. And as long as you have enough empathy, as long as you have enough understanding towards people's scenario or people's pain behind the scene, so you're able to understand what's actually the bottleneck from stopping people to able to deliver. So empathy in essence, and understanding what's your team's capabilities. That's how I would like to wrap it up. Yep.
Anyone wants to echo on that or perhaps add another point? Because no, okay. So actually, yeah, I do echo on what Terry said. I didn't experience a lot in terms of what it takes to be a leader or like leadership in a fast-paced changing digital world. But during my YCDP, it actually happened during the pandemic. So it did not just change my view. I had to live through it doing YCDP during the pandemic itself. So it was really us trying to understand each other, trying to have that sense of empathy, compassion to understand each other, while sitting behind a screen. And it's not just that; it was also us discussing and debating behind a screen, and us trying to make use of whatever tools and software that is made available then. This was 2 years back, I think, when I started YCDP. So they were not, ChatGPT was not there yet, for an example, right? So we had to make use and find tools to utilize during our YCDP at that time. So I think it will definitely change not just your view, but also yourself in how you operate. Because when there is a way, what was that idiom called again? I forgot.
There's a will, there's a way.
When there's a will, there's a way. Yes, you will always find a way to solve a problem if you want to. So essentially, I think ULDP will also give you that kind of experience. When there's a will, there's always a way. You'll always make out a new thing, make out a new solution with your team members, especially. So yeah, I think that is it for us. We do have a couple other questions. I see for the audience out there, I saw your questions, but unfortunately we have come to the end of our time here. But don't worry. I think the panelists will also help to contribute to the answers for the remaining questions, along with our Axiata Foundation representative. They will answer all of the questions that you have in the chat. And I think Zahira will help to include these answers in our thank you email. So you will all receive a thank you email soon. So without further ado, thank you all for sharing your very, very much insightful experience and also advice. I think your stories will not only motivate our audience today, but it will also serve as a valuable testimonials for the future for those who want to apply to ULDP. And we all hope that today's session has provided us clarity and encouragement, especially for those interested to join ULDP 2024. Thank you again for joining us, and we all wish you, our potential applicants, the best of luck. Don't worry, applications are still open, so you can scan the QR code here or click the link in the chat to apply, and I hope I see all of your faces at ULDP 2024. I will pass the mic back to Zahira. Also, I think one more thing, Zahira, before anything, if you guys have any burning questions and you guys want to personally DM or personally ask the panelists or even myself, you can do so and perhaps chat us via our LinkedIn. I believe Zahira will also share our LinkedIn profiles later. So yeah, right back at you, Zahira. Oh, you have nothing else to add here, so I guess that's it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sri. Sorry. I know you want to hear me talk again. It's okay. Yeah, so I guess that's basically it. That's the end of our webinar session. So what I'll do is, as we are kind of transitioning out of the webinar, I will leave this screen on. Whenever you're ready, if you've already scanned the QR code, feel free to drop off anytime you want. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining our webinar today. And as what Sri has mentioned, we will be sending out thank you emails to everyone, which will include the deck that I've presented today. I will also include the contact details of all of our panelists, myself, and also the moderator if you like to connect with us on LinkedIn. If you have any questions that you'd like to take directly with us, feel free to connect with us anytime you want after this call. And that's basically it. So thank you so much for your time and see you in ULDP.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks.